Welcome to Scott's Counseling Corner, where I give an opinion and get butchered to death for it. This is a new series of doing on my channel where I take the most popular topics of today throughout society and I turn it upside down and talk shit about it because that's what I like to do best. If you guys want this series to continue, this is something I'm trying different. Just to see what it says, because if I give an opinion, I forgot it's 2021, I can't really say anything that much. If you want to see more of this kind of, style of series that I'm doing, just click the subscribe button, join the Angry Armada. I got a Discord link down below. Go ahead and head on over to the Angry Armada. We got a lot of good things coming that way, some starting YouTube streaming soon, and I will be building my own computer, so that's going to be some really cool things to talk about. But enough of that. Let's talk why we're here today. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this right now, sit down in your chair, and I want you to listen to this because this is the first episode of Scott's Counseling Corner, and I'm glad you're here because we're going to talk about some spicy topics. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about cancel culture. If you don't know what cancel culture is, it's basically this trend that has been happening throughout, I want to say 2020 to 2021, where people are going out through a lot of different celebrities or a lot of big names in order to quote-unquote cancel them for actions they have done either in the past that happened years ago. This trend is one of the most toxic trends that I have ever witnessed in my lifetime, and probably throughout this whole century as we know it. Basically, the cancel culture unearths some very bad, tweets or other kind of footage that may occur that doesn't really fit with today's norms, that we experience in our society. You've probably seen a lot of examples like this online in the form of many TikTokers, getting canceled over something, many YouTubers getting canceled over barely nothing, and many musicians or other celebrities getting canceled, quote unquote, for something that they have done in the past that probably has no meaning whatsoever. And I'm not a fan of it because, hell, I'm probably going to get canceled too just talking about this. I'm talking about this a little bit recently now because right now it doesn't really have a significance. It's kind of dwindled down because a lot of people are realizing how bad of an idea this was. More so than that it's the people that go about doing this have no idea what they're talking about. So in this episode, I'm going to be talking about a lot of different situations, some other stuff, people who are being canceled for very stupid reasons. I'm just going to say it right now. I hate cancel culture. Stupid idea. It should have never been invented, whatever it is. Because the whole contradiction that comes from cancel culture is they never learn from their mistakes. I find it very funny that cancel culture can go around saying that they need to get rid of people when they've made a mistake. That two things have happened. One, they probably talked about it sometime in their career and how much they hated it and how much they regret it and apologizing for it. Or number two, they have changed 100% completely and learned from their mistakes, because the whole, moral of I learned from my mistakes, I'm going to go and be a better person has always been throughout society as we know it. So why is it that it has to be this trend that comes about to try to push down that moral of people who want to learn from their mistakes? And if you up, you up once and you'll never get a second chance. Why is that the case? I never understood it. I never understood it at all because they seem to not figure out about people making mistakes. It's not like we're all humans. We've made mistakes before. I mean, even the person you're watching this right now, you've probably made a mistake before, probably really bad, and you regretted it. Now imagine happening that and you were well known throughout the internet and, or even celebrity in Hollywood or whatever. Imagine you mess up once and everyone hates you for it and they want to get rid of you for it. That is the best way I can really sum this up. It's goddamn terrible. I mean, I already actually tweeted this out right now to see why I would get canceled for. I actually tweeted out why I would actually get canceled for, or what would Gen Z like to cancel me for. Cheekiest, you little son of a bitch, anger issues. Do I look like the type of man that has anger issues? People are going to cancel me because my name's not actually Scott. My real name is Mason, and people are going to cancel me because I'm actually part Scottish. And even though I was born in America, I can see it right now happening. If that does happen, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to legally change my middle name to Scott so you assholes can't get to me first. I'm always down to give people second chances, but when you waste that second chance opportunity over and over again, then at that point it becomes redundant. There's been other situations where people have been quote-unquote canceled for something that's probably justifiable. So, I mean, even then, I'm not going to get into that because it kind of resorts around mostly politics, and I don't want to try to discuss that on this channel. But I am going to be talking about some of the stupidest cancel cultures, whatever you want to call them, that exist here today. I have figured out something that may get me canceled as well. I'll do it. Don't make me do it. I'll do it! This is in local YouTuber commits animal harm for putting a knife up against a fake squid. Anyways, let's go ahead and check out some of these situations that make absolutely no sense. A professor at the University of Southern California was placed on leave for using a Chinese word that some people think sounds like the N-word, even though it is simplified the Chinese word for that. What the f***? There are words out there in other foreign languages that can mean so many things, not for the English language. This is why everyone has a culture. It's funny, if Gen Z tries to cancel a actual culture, then I'm not going to stand for it. That is the most ridiculous thing I ever heard. And the fact that the university accepts this too makes me angry. This is so it's ridiculous. This is where my channel has gone. People are losing their jobs over these kind of situations, over misled dialects that come from cancel culture as a whole. So many things can get slandered around and changed when it comes to cancel culture that as soon as someone hears something that is 100% wrong with today's norms, they jump to the conclusion and they will just charge at you full speed. It's basically shoot first, ask questions later. And it's so ridiculous. There's even stuff like this. A top executive at Boeing recently lost his job because of an article he wrote in 1987 opposing allowing women to serve as fighter pilots. The executive apologized for the article, writing, "My article was a 29-year-old Cold War Navy pilot's misguided contribution to a debate that was live at the time. The dialogue that followed its publication 33 years ago quickly opened my eyes, inevitably changed my mind, and shaped the principles of fairness, inclusion, respect, and diversity that have guided my professional life since." That was not enough to save his job. Not only did that Boeing executive apologize for his actions that happened in no less 1987, a different time that is now, he apologized for it, also admitted that it rechanged his life to understand fairness amongst genders, and he still lost his job for it. And granted, this happened nearly 30 years ago. But do you see what I'm talking about here? Do you see what I'm trying to tell you? Is that cancel culture goes after everything. A common argument people use to defend cancel culture as a whole is they'll say, well, it's freedom of speech. That is 100% correct. You have the 100% right to say whatever the hell you want, and no one can hold you against it because that is what the freedom of speech is. But when that freedom of speech is directed towards social change, like cancel culture, and it totally gets flipped upside down, that makes no sense really at all, then it's not at that point freedom of speech. At that point, it's you trying to start a false movement. It just doesn't make any sense to me, because I get free speech. I get that 100%. I'll even let anyone free speech. If people disagree with me, please in the comments make yourselves known. Please tell me why you think cancel culture is important. That's fine, because it's your freedom of speech. But when you go around preaching about social justice and trying to cancel everyone for something that has no sense, that gets redirected, that has slandered on people, where people lose their jobs over literally nothing or something that they apologize for later, then I don't want to hear your opinion. It's very weird, because when you think about it, it almost is similar to the Salem witch trials when you think about it. In a sense, this is a lighthearted sense. I mean, no, they're not being murdered for it. No, they're just losing their jobs for something that's so stupid. In our most recent case, Eminem is being canceled by Gen Z, quote unquote, and people have fired back hard at this. I mean, everyone has just despised the fact that Eminem's getting canceled, and I'm on board with not canceling Eminem as well. These people who are trying to cancel Eminem for the lyrics in his songs, might I add you, most of the lyrics he had that may or may not have some homophobic slurs in it or whatever took place during a time where it was kind of acceptable. And I still listen to Eminem too. I blast that shit in my car as well. It's so funny that even Corey Taylor from Slipknot has came out to even try to defend Eminem as well. And it is awesome. Just because as soon as cancel culture was already taking off at its peak, as soon as Eminem got brought up, then everyone was defending it. Think about this. If cancel culture exists right now, then probably 90% of comedians should be losing their jobs right now. I find that's hard to think about when you think about it. Any kind of comedian that's out there that's probably made some offensive joke. Here's one right here. A scene featuring Pepe Le Pew of Looney Tunes was cut from the upcoming film Space Jam: A New Legacy. The serial harasser Pepe Le Pew was canceled from Space Jam 2. Producers decided to cut one of Pepe's star scenes in the sequel, in which character is depicted as a flirty bartender who insists on kissing a female customer, despite her many objections. Okay, we all know we don't want to put harassment towards women. Everyone knows that. Your parents have probably taught you. Your teachers have taught you. But when the goddamn skunk gets involved, then it's a little bit weird. Pepe Le Pew has been throughout a lot of Looney Tunes films, and he has showed up quite a bit. So why hasn't everything else been canceled as well? Because that's his whole shtick and idea. That's why every time Pepe Le Pew does something, everyone he gets the bad end of the vibe from. Popular music star Joji was trending worldwide on Twitter on May 11th after K-pop fans, that is another episode for later, discovered his YouTube past as Filthy Frank. The fictional character's edgy humor has some users extremely upset. We all know Filthy Frank, the legend himself.
Know your place, trash.
Filthy Frank was a YouTube icon. He did a lot of edgy stuff, and he was extremely funny while doing it. The whole point of Filthy Frank was he was satirical. He wasn't anything to be taken serious of. Another thing that cancel culture doesn't understand is irony. And for some reason, the K-pop fans now have finally unearthed Joji's, past as Filthy Frank, when it was kind of obvious already as it is, being throughout a lot of YouTube lore. Watching all these people get mad over Filthy Frank is so funny, dude. People are just now discovering it, man. It's already been there. There's nothing much more you can do about it. I mean, we all know what happened to Filthy Frank. He left YouTube behind to go be a popular musician, he's really good at music. I love his songs. And they're unearthing this stuff now. Like, it's going to have any effect on him. Do you really think that is going to really do anything to Filthy Frank or Joji? I'm sorry. It's not. It's not going to at all. I'm sorry. Like, I just found out Filthy Frank is actually Joji. I'm shaking and crying right now. As soon as Filthy Frank showed that he was a great musician being the form of Joji, he was praised by so many musicians out there and had a whole album appeared on the late night show, and just people figuring out now is so funny. So funny. The last thing we're going to be looking at is one video that was sent out by Jubilee. Jubilee does a lot of social experiments online. They have a lot of videos. You've probably seen PewDiePie done it, and you might have watched Jubilee channel as a whole. I think it's pretty interesting. I like looking at some of that stuff. But we're going to look at a little bit from the video about cancel culture as a whole.
The justice system needs to be fixed, but I do think the reason cancel culture started and when it originally derived was because, like, to be 100% right, like, that takes so long. Like, for our entire government and justice system to, like, evolve into your idealistic view of it is not happening next year. I think we're making change. I think it's happening, but I think our generation that spawned cancel culture was like, we don't have time.
You're not making change. You're not doing any of that. In fact, you're making the worst possible change. No one knows when the world's going to end, so you have plenty of time to change how it is. It's not going to happen the next day. It's not going to happen in the next years to fit the ideology of the rest of society. It doesn't take a day. It's not going to take years. It's not like a purge that you have to go around and find any sort of celebrity or any kind of YouTuber or any kind of social media standards that's done something bad that you should call them out for it. Because 9 times out of 10, whoever you find on the internet or on movies has probably done something messed up back then. And no one's going to hold it against them because it is exactly that. Back then. I only wanted to watch that little snippet. I can't take too much of this any longer. I'm losing my mind. But yeah, Gen Z's stupid. And I don't think I need to agree with cancel culture anymore. I think it's terrible. I think this trend needs to drop as a whole, and it should never be unearthed ever again. Here's some stuff we're going to cancel on this channel right now. Queen of England, she's way too old. She needs to give me her potion of immortality. Nemo from Finding Nemo, why the hell can I not be a fish? Cameron Koblinsky, because his Subnautica videos get way better than mine. Please don't kill me, Cameron, that was a joke. Elon Musk, because he has the best memes on Twitter right now. River Squid, because this was the worst thing that happened to my channel. Toxic Trent, because I don't know how to wrestle. That is all the time we have here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching this. If you want more of this, or actually if you want me to try and complain about or counsel one more topic, go ahead and leave in the comments. We'll continue this. Hopefully this becomes a series on my channel. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time when I try to figure out how a calculator works.
I'm tripping on you. I'm tripping on you.